Hello again and welcome to this review. How you doing? Oh, I need a glass, excuse me. Might help if I've got one of these, eh? I'm going to use my Spiegelau for this. Love the sound of the Spiegelau. Now what I've got here in front of me today, folks, is a Blackberry Cider from Mick, Mr. Flatbeer. Cheers for this, Mick. What's Mick done with this then? Well, he's used 15 litres of apple juice, about 4 pounds of blackberries, and the yeast is cultivated Old Rosie. So I'm expecting big things from this, Mick. Let's see, I'm sure you're not going to let me down. Give it a little bit of a twist. This has been in the fridge for about a week now. So, give it a pour. Oh, what a beautiful colour that is. Look at that. Fantastic colour on that. Don't mind if I get a little bit of Old Rosie in there. Not too bothered. There we go, folks. A little bit murky. But maybe chill haze, and maybe because I just poured a little bit of Old Rosie in there, doesn't really matter. I'm not too bothered about the colour. I'm more interested in the flavour. Let's give a little bit of a smell. Oh, Mick, where's the smell, mate? Hang on. Can't really smell much, you know. Oh, hang on. Very subtle hint of sweetness from the blackberries in there. It's not massive on the aroma, but that's all right. It may well be, Mick, because you've not massively carved it, that it's not bringing up the aroma out of the glass. This is just, I would say, the right amount of, actually, it looks fairly well carbonated. It's difficult to tell because it's quite a cloudy cider. Yeah, it looks fairly well carved. There are some very small bubbles in there. So let's give it a little bit of a sippy poos. Oh. Oh. Ooh, shall I say "ooh" again? Ooh, I like that. Again, not what I was expecting, you know. Isn't it interesting how, you know, folks, when we do our own beer and we brew our own ciders, we get to understand our own style. And when you try somebody else's, I love it that you're constantly surprised by how good other people's drinks are, and this is really nice. It is well carbonated, so I'm surprised that it's not throwing out more of the blackberry. It's still, I would say it's a medium cider. There's a hint of sweetness, and the blackberries don't hang around for long, you know. Once they're gone, they're gone. You don't get the sort of aftertaste of blackberries in there. Maybe just a tiny little hint, but it's not overpowering, which again could be a problem if you put too much in. You know, when you drink your ciders, all you're going to taste is that fruit, and it's going to be quite dry and harsh, and it's going to smack you in the face. Not everybody likes that. You know, we're all different. We've all got our own palates. I myself think that is just spot on. That it really is spot on. It's got initial sweetness there. There's the hit of the blackberries, and then at the end there's a little bit of bitterness. Let's have another go. let's just make sure I'm not telling you a load of old porkies. Yeah. Sweetness, blackberry. Bitterness in the back. That's really rather pleasant, you know. I would myself, personally, like it a little bit sweeter, because I find when I throw in real fruit into a cider, obviously the sugars from the fruit are going to get eaten up by the yeast and you're going to end up with quite a dry product. However, this isn't dry, this is a medium, and I think if it were a little bit sweeter it would help bring out the flavour of the blackberries a little bit more. How you would get it a little bit sweeter? Well, you would have to probably stop fermentation early and cold crash it. Excuse me. Or I don't know. Or maybe chuck it into secondary. I suppose you could. I don't know. It's a tough one, isn't it? Especially when you're dealing with real fruit. I don't know if you put any pectales in here, Mick. Maybe that might be why it's still a little bit cloudy, because of the pectin. Because if you put real fruit in, you really should chuck in some pectales, and that will help clear it up, give you a nicer drink. But there's nothing wrong with it. It tastes absolutely fine. It's really nice. Yeah. It's a really nice drink. I just think it needs a little bit more blackcurrant flavour in there, and to be a little bit sweeter. But that's my palate. You see, when I do fruity ciders, and I haven't done one for quite a long time, folks, I'll be honest with you. I haven't done a lot of ciders. Having said that, I've got 4 boxes by the side of me. One's Old Rosie. Shall I show you that one? There's a bottle of Old Rosie cider. I'm gonna have to send that out to someone at some point, I think. And recently I did a kit, a Munton cider. So let me see if I can pull out a bottle of that to show you. The Munton cider. Now again, with all kits, sadly it's going to be cloudy, and you're going to get, I don't know if you can see that there up close, it's quite murky at the bottom there. Really doesn't look that good at all. I don't have high hopes for this at all. This is well carbed now, by the way, but I don't hold out high hopes for these cider kits. I don't know if any of you boys and girls out there have ever done a decent cider kit. Put it this way, I've yet to be impressed by a commercial cider kit. I've done quite a few now in the course of the last few years, and I've been disappointed by every single one of them. They've either come out really thin with hardly any flavour at all in, or like that one's looking, it's gonna be quite murky, and just a little bit too overpowering in false flavouring. And it's that false flavouring I don't like. It's just fucking horrible. There's no need to put that shit in there, you know. But you never know. It still needs another week. I reckon it's fully carb, to be honest, and we could probably do a taste test on it. But I'm going to give it another week at room temperature. Chuck it in the shed to condition for a month or so. Give it some time out in the cold weather, because we're now entering winter. Don't forget to put your clocks back this weekend, folks. We get an extra hour in bed. Remember, spring forward, roll back. Something like that. Spring forward, fall back, but of course we don't call it fall in the UK, do we? We are falls in the UK, but we don't call it fall, we call it winter, autumn and winter. I don't know what fucking hell it is, I don't know. Probably got that arse upwards, haven't I? Spring forward, fall back. No, that's right, spring forward, fall back. Summer, autumn, winter, spring, summer. Yeah, I don't know, it's either going forwards or backwards, so that's coming this weekend. That's all for me. Cheers, Mick. If I had to score this, sorry about that rambling there. If I have to, but it wouldn't be me if I didn't ramble a little bit, would it? If I had to score this, I'd probably give it a 7.5 out of 10. I'll be honest with you. It just needs a little bit of sweetness in there, mate. But that's a personal thing for me. Yeah, I'm not saying there's anything wrong with it at all. I just like the fruity ciders to have a little bit of sweetness in. And that's probably why I like, you know, the Rekorderligs and the Kopparberg ciders, because they've got that initial sweetness in there that really, oh Christ, that nearly torn it, to help bring out the flavour of the fruit, and it keeps it really nice. This is nearly there. I don't know what you would do to get that sweetness into it though. It's a really difficult thing to do with turbo ciders, you know, inject a little bit of sweetness in there. If you put fake sweetener in there, some people can taste a fake sweetener. You don't want to use aspartame because that's a horrible fake sweetener, and it does things to you, gives you headaches and all sorts of things. You can use Splenda, it's got maltodextrin in. You can probably get away with that, but again, some people will be able to tell the fake sugar taste almost immediately. I can usually pick out fake sweetener taste. Doesn't really work. The only thing you can do really is cold crash it, pasteurise in glass bottles maybe. There are a number of things you can do, but you know, you have to ask yourself the question, is it worth it? And if you're getting a 7.5 out of 10 for this, mate, for an extra half a point, not really worth it, is it? It's a good cider though. You can taste the most importantly, you can taste the blackberries. Can't smell the blackberries, but you can taste the blackberries. But they go, as soon as they've appeared, they go. And I like them to sort of hang around just a little bit. You know, you like that sort of sweetness on your tongue kind of thing. But hey, that's a good cider, mate. It's got alcohol in it and it's got fruit in it. What more do you want? And it's old rosy yeast. Probably, what I would say is if I was going to do a fruity cider, and maybe I'll make that my next experiment, what I would use is the 775, because the 775 yeast has got this unique ability, I think, to inject some sort of sweetness into your cider. And it seems to me, and this is just my opinion, to be better at bringing out a sweeter product than the Old Rosy. Bearing in mind the Old Rosy is a wine yeast, and so you're going to end up with a dry product. If you'd used 775 in this, I think you would have ended up with a much sweeter, cleaner and more tasty cider. But having said that, there's nothing wrong with it, mate. Cheers to you, God bless you. Really nice drink, that. Thank you guys, I'll see you on the next one. Ta-ra for now.